The Honourable Maggie Barry.
E te tia mana tēnā koe, huri noa e te whare paramata, nei ngā mihi ki ngā mema katoa. We come now to the preliminary provisions. Clause 3, which we've heard a very slanted interpretation of a few moments ago. The words wasteful, silly and illogical occur, and that about sums up the arguments we've heard so far. I'd add spurious to that as well. When we talk about doing something as important as changing the flag of this fair country, and we have had 3 flags already in our history, we signalled it before the last election. We were absolutely clear there would be a referendum, because this is a government that cares about our nationhood. This is a government that cares about how we define ourselves and how we are seen on the world stage. So how do we go about this process? Do we go for some budget, foolish, mad, not likely to succeed scenario as outlined by the previous speaker, or do we try and do it as fairly as possible? And for something that is as important as changing our national symbol, which is often confused with the Australian flag, we need to go to the people. We need to let the people decide what that symbol should be. And it is very important that we do it by 2 referendums, because that is the fairest way of doing it. Preferential voting, where people can list the top 4 flags in order of preference, means that if, for example, somebody chooses a flag that is not everyone else's first choice, their options will not be discounted. The second choice will also come into play. It is a fairer system, something the opposition knows little about. When we then come to consideration about the prospect of choice, again something of an unknown to the opposition, we look at giving people options. If you're going to ask people would they like a change, the first question they would ask is, what are we going to change to? So it is important to have a lengthy, well-considered process by people independent from Parliament to sit down and analyse it. This week, I understand that the flag consideration panel narrowed it down to about 12 flags. They will then be narrowing it down further. The response, incidentally, has been tremendous. More than 10,000 designs, more than 10,000 options have been considered. What does that tell you? What it tells me is that the children, the young people, the middle-aged people and the old people in this country are united in wanting to have a say about it. Labor prefers dictatorial. That's why they're in the opposition benches. They will remain there if they continue on with this nonsense. I hope they do, because they don't deserve to be in charge of this fine country. But what we have seen through this consideration process is a level of engagement that is going to really, I think, inform us well. There is no presumption of change. It will come through my Ministry of Arts, Culture and Heritage, the legislation. So I've been taking a keen interest in the way that it plays out. The referendum process will allow a very fair analysis and assessment of what people want. And I find it ironic that we hear some braying from the Winston First Party, New Zealand First, of course, where they are saying that they're usually in favour of referendums. Oh, but not in this case, because they didn't think of it, because they want to be contrarians, and that's their point of difference. Negative contrarianism. That about sums up that party. When we come back to sensible middle ground processes where we are attempting to give New Zealanders the say, the 2-part referendum, which is in clause 3 of this purpose, is very, very fair. Clause 6, preferential voting, I've outlined as being, I think, the fairest. But when we come to that second referendum next March or so, it's going to be first past the post. There will be 2 flags to choose from. That will be the time for the people who don't want to change to stand up and say, we want to stick with the one that we have. Or we rather like this other one. Personally, having just toured the battlefields of Western France and Belgium last year in November and was there for the commemorations of the 11th of the 11th, the symbol that defines New Zealand is the silver fern. It is on every New Zealander's grave and all of the Commonwealth's graves. It is the symbol that we are recognised by. So go figure, someone like me with an enduring interest in conservation would find that a silver fern, for example, is an excellent symbol. So I will be looking with an open mind at what that flag that they are choosing, letting us to choose from, the 4 of them, as to which one we would like. The Commonwealth war graves are something that many of us who are genuine patriots about this country, not the kind of people who knock it wherever possible. I believe that this is the fairest system. I believe the Act binds the Crown, and I think that the referendum process is excellent.
Dennis